Welcome back. It is the Buckmaster Show on 1030 The Voice, trusted local news and talk. Time for our CEO interview series, presented by Sun Corridor Incorporated, a transformative economic development organization representing one of the most dynamic and growing business centers in North America. Sun Corridor Inc. is a CEO-driven regional alliance whose members aggressively champion mega regional issues that impact economic competitiveness and quality of life. The organization has helped to drive significant business investment into the Tucson and southern Arizona region through primary job creation, resulting in an economic impact of $24.8 billion, with 162 company locates and expansions supporting nearly 48,000 jobs. For more information, visit suncorridorinc.com. Joining me on the live line, the CEO and general manager of the nonprofit member-owned Trico Electric Cooperative, Vincent Nitido. Vincent, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the program. Tell our listeners a little bit about Trico. What makes it different, Vincent, from other electric utilities in our area?
Sure. Well, Trico is what's known as an electric distribution cooperative. That makes us the local electric company for about 48,000 households and businesses circling metropolitan Tucson. We were formed back in 1945 under the Rural Electrification Act. Under the REA Act, which was a New Deal legislation, it facilitated formation of local cooperatives to supply energy to rural areas. And Trico was formed in 1945 by a group of irrigators in the Marana-Avra Valley area. So we have since grown to about 48,000 households. The main difference between Trico and another type of electric utility is that we are member-owned, as you mentioned. We don't have shareholders. To the extent that we make margins in a given year, we pay those back to our members through capital credit allocations and retirements. So we're member-governed. We have a board of directors that consists of Trico members. We're also smaller than most utilities, most investor-owned utilities. We only have about 130 employees, but we see that as more of as an advantage, more than a disadvantage, because it allows us to keep our roots in the community and maintain interaction with the community. So we very much feel like we're part of the communities that we serve. What is your footprint in our area? You mentioned Marana. What about other areas? Well, we basically, as I mentioned, we circle the ring around metropolitan Tucson. So we serve as far northeast as Mount Lemmon, all the way up to Saddlebrook and Saddlebrook Ranch here in Marana, and then all the way south down to the Mexican border at Sassabee. What's your big challenge right now in the electric business? Well, I think it's keeping pace with the change that's going on. I've been in the electric business now for 30 years, and the pace of change that's occurring is really astounding, particularly with respect to the movement away from fossil-based fuels and coal toward renewable resources. We're seeing that continue to accelerate, particularly as the cost of renewables comes down and the efficiency is improved. So it's keeping pace with that. As a smaller utility, we can't necessarily take advantage of some of the economies of scale that are associated with doing larger renewable projects. So we manage that by doing smaller projects. We just completed a 10-megawatt solar facility out by the Marana Airport. So I think I'd say it's keeping pace with that, and in that context, keeping our rates as low as we possibly can for our members, because we do serve rural areas and people tend to be demographically have more economic challenges in our rural areas. How would you talk about, what is the price point? Are your rates competitive with, say, TEP, or what is that like, Vincent? Our rates as a co-op, we're more dispersed than TEP, so our rates are slightly higher than TEP's. And the primary reason for that is that if you look at how a co-op is organized. We serve rural areas. Our population is more dispersed. So we have probably 10 member households per mile of line that we serve. A TEP has 50 or 60 per mile of line. So that's 50 or 60 people sharing the cost of that as opposed to the 10 that we have. So structurally, cooperative cost structure tends to be a little bit higher than an investor-owned utility. The flip side is, though, that we do serve the rural areas that investor-owned utilities either can't or won't serve. So that's the trade-off that we have.
How are we doing now as we get ready to get into another very hot summer, Vincent? What's the distribution look like? Are we going to be able to meet those distribution needs this summer?
We will. That's something that we think about every year. We always stay ahead of that. We do resource planning, and we do planning on a yearly basis. We have just done several upgrades to our system to improve the ability to serve areas from multiple substations, so that if we have an issue with one, we can serve it from another. One of the challenges, again, as a co-op that we have is, we have a very dispersed service territory. We serve over 2,300 square miles.
Wow!
So it's physically or demographically and structurally, we're larger in area than TEP is, but we have many, many fewer members, obviously. So when we think about summer preparedness, we make sure that we have contracts in place that can cover what we're anticipating to be our maximum load. And then we have, as I mentioned, alternative backup arrangements so that if one substation or one circuit is taken out by a storm, we can serve it from other places. So we're in pretty good shape for this summer.
We're speaking with the Trico Electric Cooperative CEO Vincent Nitido, and Vincent's talking about Trico, and they've been around really since 1945. He's been in the energy business for about 30 years. Why did you get into that business anyway, Vincent?
Well, originally, I just wanted to move to Tucson. So I was an attorney back east in Connecticut for about 10 years, and we decided we wanted to move out to Tucson. Our sons at the time were young enough to relocate, so we picked a new place that we had liked, and I came out and started working for Tucson Electric Power. And then just spent about 17 years with TEP. I ended up as their general counsel before I came here, and it's been a fun ride. We've had a lot of interesting times in the electric industry in Arizona.
Why do you like being associated with Sun Corridor Inc., Vincent?
Oh, it's you know, the networking ability and the ability to talk to your peers and to know what's going on. It's just invaluable. The idea that you can reach out and talk to anyone in any area within Sun Corridor is a very positive benefit for us.
The whole thing about member-owned, that must make the people that are served by Trico at least feel like they've got some kind of voice. Is that correct?
I think, yes, that is correct, and we try really hard to reinforce that. We're constantly soliciting the input of our members. Whenever a big initiative occurs, we're reaching out to our members. As I mentioned, our board of directors is directly elected by the members at the annual meeting each year. So we really do feel like we have that tight connection to the community. We do a lot of scholarships and community donations and involvement, so we really try to be as public as we can within the areas that we serve.
You mentioned a very successful renewable energy program underway out by the Marana Airport. What's the big key initiative that you've got going here in the next couple of years as you're looking at your 2 to 5 year plan, Vincent?
I think it would be certainly the renewable portion of that, to continue the development of our renewable energy. We think that that's the way things are moving and are going to have to move if we're going to address global climate change, which we do think is an issue. So we're continuing to work on that, balanced against the cost of that to our membership. And because as we move forward, we need to continue to have safe, reliable energy for our members. So we balance that against the need to include and continue building new resources. The other significant initiative we're doing is working with our members to take better advantage of their energy choices and to manage their energy better. There are all sorts of new technologies that allow you to make better use of your energy, things like Nest thermostats and battery technologies that allow you to move your load from the peak times to the off-peak times where the energy is cheaper. So we're continuing to work with our members on that.
That's going to save some money too for the members by doing some of those things, isn't it?
That's the idea.
Yeah.
The members should save, and the cooperative saves. And again, because we're member-owned, there's no one to pay the bills but the members. So it's in everyone's best interest. Yeah.
Vincent Nitido, thank you very much, Vincent. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Vincent Nitido, CEO, General Manager, Trico Electric. For more information about our CEO interview series, you can visit Sun Corridor Inc., and that is the place to go to find out all that information about what they're doing at Sun Corridor Inc. So it's suncorridorinc.com. That is the website. All right, almost exactly 12:45 on the Buckmaster Show. Dr. Mark Sykes, CEO of the Tucson-based Planetary Science Institute. He's in the house. Are we going back to the moon anytime soon? We'll talk to Mark about that right after this.